Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I rise to support Mr. Speaker, I rise to support the report of the legal committee. Mr. Speaker, I want to also to clarify some informations that has been reported in the media by our media personnel, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, amending a constitution or making a constitution is not an event, it is the process. Mr. Speaker, under our constitution, Article 1 of our constitution clearly states that the sovereign power of the people of the constitution belong to it is elected representative, Mr. Speaker. Secondly, Mr. Speaker, the same constitution, Mr. Speaker, again, although their leaders can able to exercise that power directly or indirectly, Mr. Speaker, the constitution gives a leeway under Article 196, 1A and B, and Section 87B of the County Government Act, Mr. Speaker, talk about the people participation in anything that make their lives. One of the issues, Mr. Speaker, is resemblance, accessing of process of formulating and implementing laws. Mr. Speaker, what we are dealing with is a law that will have impact in our generation and generation to come. Mr. Speaker, amending a constitution through a popular initiative under Article 257, 6, Mr. Speaker, well, the reason why I'm saying this is a process whereby, Mr. Speaker, the media have reported that Mandera County Assembly has taken time because of some issues that we have visited the office of the Deputy President, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, we have been given a 90 days, according to the Constitution, that in 90 days, you must able to conclude your either approval or rejection to the both House of the Senate, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, since the BBI proposal report was tabled, it is less than a month, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the passing or rejection of the BBI report by this assembly does not have any relationship, Mr. Speaker, to 2022 politics, Mr. Speaker, which has been reported. Mr. Speaker, I want to say this. The reason why I have supported before, Mr. Speaker, I have a reservation that I wanted to oppose the BBI report, but Mr. Speaker, what has changed me, Mr. Speaker, today is that if Article 203 is amended and a resource is more resources added to our counties, Mr. Speaker, that is the only hope that we have in Mandera. Because the reason why I'm saying this, Mr. Speaker, all those positions, like the Prime Minister, the President, the Deputy, I am sure it is set aside for the big community, Mr. Speaker. The only hope is, Mr. Speaker, in this Constitution and in this amendment bill, if this is amended, we can only have a resource that can be added. That is, Mr. Speaker. Or I don't know, maybe through the grace of God, we may have those positions, but Mr. Speaker, for me, I have a reservation on that. Mr. Speaker, although there are goodies in this Constitution, I also have a reservation, Mr. Speaker. The reason why Constitution is amended is to cure, Mr. Speaker, gaps. Because there are a lot of lacuna in our Constitution, Mr. Speaker. Number one, Article 107A is amended to include the office of leader of opposition, Mr. Speaker. If the Constitution is to cure, Mr. Speaker, lacuna, Mr. Speaker, if the Constitution, Mr. Speaker, is to correct what is in a Constitution, Mr. Speaker, the same should have been replicated in the county governments, whereby, Mr. Speaker, we have the office of official opposition at the county government, so that, Mr. Speaker, the person who contested for the governorship and become the second should be given an opportunity in assembly, Mr. Speaker, to become a leader of opposition in the assemblies, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the other issue that I wanted to, the reason why I supported, Mr. Speaker, as already said by the members before me, Article 99(2)(a) has been amended, whereby any political leader who wants to contest for other elective position, Mr. Speaker, before it was only the member of parliament. But now the member of county assemblies has been added. But still, Mr. Speaker, since all of us are state officers, they should have also generalized the governors, the MPs, the speakers, to be in the same category, Mr. Speaker. This is why I'm saying, if you want to correct a lacuna, then you should not have left some gaps, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the other issue is that America, which is the largest democracy, has amended its constitution 27 times, Mr. Speaker. Therefore, in Kenya, maybe this is the second time we are either making an amendment to our constitution, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the issue of additional constituency is something that we must be proud of. The reason why I'm saying, Mr. Speaker, the problem that is facing especially our counties, especially the northern county, is a political conflict, Mr. Speaker. What you see here that we are always fighting is not the issue of, it is either the resources or political representation. In that regard, Mr. Speaker, if this one constituency is added, whether it comes to Kutulo, whether it goes to Mandera North, whether it comes to Mandera East, then a political solution has been achieved, Mr. Speaker. Finally, Mr. Speaker, I want to say this. If we are saying that we want to cure a gap in a constitution, today the CRA formula, the Senate must sit after every 3 years, Mr. Speaker, they sit to determine the revenue sharing formula. In my opinion, if the proponent of the constitution were very keen, Mr. Speaker, adding 35 or anchoring 35% in the constitution should not be, it is a better thing, but Mr. Speaker, they should have put a clause in the constitution whereby after every subsequent 5 years election, a certain percentage must be added to the counties, Mr. Speaker, to the revenue share, Mr. Speaker. Because in this issue, Mr. Speaker, it means after every 10 years, Mr. Speaker, we may change our constitution. But if that is anchored in constitution, Mr. Speaker, then there's no need to amend a constitution every time that a president comes in is elected, Mr. Speaker, and then he wants to change the constitution because of A or B, Mr. Speaker. In that regard, Mr. Speaker, I stand to support the amendment bill.